Good evening, everyone. Let's see who we have today. We have 13 participants so far. Okay, so I think people are joining in. All right, so it's precisely 4 in the evening. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to each one of you who has joined and who are going to join today. Uh, we have participants today from, let's see, um, from the various parts of the country. We have participants from Ahmedabad, Vadodara.
हाँ
I think I'll have to mute everyone. All right, so we have participants from around the globe. We have participants from Ahmedabad, Vadodara, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolhapur, Delhi, Lucknow, Patna, Missouri, Pune, Rajkot, Surat, Bangalore, and wow, we have a couple of international participants as well from Singapore, Dubai, Canada, and one from China. So, welcome you all. I hope you all are set for this particular session. So, let me begin today's session. I hope you are ready with the pen and paper to note down a couple of important things. If at all I get disconnected due to some network issues, I'll get back in less than 2 minutes of time. And if at all the similar thing happens with you, do not worry, just use the same Zoom ID to log in once again. All right. So let's begin. All right, so let me just talk about my company. My company's name is Confab Pro. We are into the organization development and talent solutions. We provide strategic HR business partnering, people process re-engineering, business vision creation. Now, this is very important tool for any business to have the vision. Most of us have seen a lot of websites where the business vision, mission, and values are mentioned, but they are hardly either being followed or those are written by the content writers. So that's the business vision creation that we are experts in. We help with the strategic people operation. The one of the important tool, which is the KRAs and KPIs development. We help with the organization development, that is the talent development. Then the senior leadership mentoring. When I say senior leadership, I mentor the CXOs of the organizations, CEOs, CEOs, CIOs. The next thing which we consider as our expertise is the performance management system. So we help create, the systems for the performance management. The next one is the compensation and benefits, and the last one is organization design and restructuring. So, moreover, it's a complete package of the organization development, the strategic organization development that we offers to our the clients. And as you all know, my name is Milind Desai, and I've been working with in this industry from last almost more than 16 years. In the past, I worked with companies like IBM, I worked with Accenture, I worked with Dell, I worked with a company called Rishabh Software in Baroda, when I was heading the human resource department when I end my tenure there. So that's about me. Let's see what we have in for today. What we are going to discuss today is this. All right, so the agenda for today. We are going to talk about what is new normal, the new normal that everyone is talking about these days, and how to adapt it, how to accept it. We'll talk about the 4 P's to 4 C's, the shift that we are expected to do during this crisis time. Then we'll talk about what should be our focus areas and how to return from crisis, from our usual business function before we know the strategies and how to return, with the bang to our businesses. And the last one, the heart of this particular webinar today, some of the growth strategies that companies are hiding, some of the big companies are hiding from you, that we would be talking about today. So with this, let's start our today's session. All right. So we all agree that the pandemic COVID-19 has changed everyone's life and made everyone equal. There is no rich or poor when it comes to the infection or getting treatment. There is no difference whether you are a CEO, president, manager, or just a fresh entrant in the organization. Everyone is working from home, and we do not know what is going to happen once this lockdown opens up, whichever dates in a part of your city, your country. We all have to accept, whether we like it or not, that this is the kind of reboot of our business. This is the new world. And this is the new era where we need to think of business diversification rather than business expansion. It's a more of the year of survival. So, what is new normal? The new normal is the new of doing everything, the new of doing business, the way we deal with our people, the way we manage our expectations from your clients, colleagues, and other stakeholders. It is the new way to operate our business. This new normal has brought a concept of working from home. A lot of you know that working from home is not new anymore. There are these organizations whom I consult, who I give my consulting, who were opposing work from home, and now they are almost 90 to 95% functional when their employees are working from home, and moreover, trust me, they are happy with it. Flexible and remote working has exponentially gained popularity over the last few months. The widespread availability of online services has made it easy to share documents and collaborate with others, while messaging services and video conferencing allow teams to stay in touch very easily. In one of the survey conducted in recent times, it says in India, 52% of companies have said that their employees work with more productivity, that is higher productivity and efficiency when they work remotely. Meanwhile, 67% has to say that they expect more remote working in the next year, with this figure rising to 75% people working from home in the next 3 years. I'm sure you all of you have heard about the news that TCS is going to do this in next 3 years. And while your people are working from home, how would you track the progress on their work and see how productive they are? There are many softwares which can record the screens and record everything that is being done on the computer. But I think that's where we need to talk about creating culture of trust. It is the era where employers will engage more and more remote workers. So that means you may have an office in Bangalore, and tomorrow you may find a talent who's fitting your requirements and budget and willing to work with you without leaving his current or her current place, which may not be Bangalore. Okay, so this is going to be part of new normal. You will have to set up your business and people processes in such a way that they are more of results driven and not anything else, and that is called business process re-engineering. Now this business process re-engineering is not a new term. However, people do not understand easily, and that's why people call it a consulting, HR consulting, right? So how would you execute this? We will have, we all have to work together on the following aspect. The first one is to be positive. We have been hearing a lot of things from the internet, WhatsApp, and all of the social connection that we have. However, we need to ensure that our business is our top priority. And it's like a game of cricket that, have you ever seen any player from the losing team walking off stadium saying that I don't want to play because I know that my team is not winning? This means you just have to be there, right? The next thing is to accept the fact that this is how the industry we will work. To talk to your core committee, or about the finances and the related issues. And this is not only during the initial phase. This should be a continued activity. Employees should trust their employers. Do frequent communication with your employees by conducting town halls and team meetings. Now, when I say do frequent communication with your employees, that means you should be talking to your one downline and the second downline as well. So let's say in your organization there are the hierarchy has 5 layers from the from the fresh entrants to the someone who is as good as you, like a CEO or the owner of the organization. Then you should be, and if you're number 5, then you should be talking to number 4 and number 3. Same way, the number 3 and number 4 should talk to number 3 and number 2, because that's how it's going to build the trust among the team members. I'm sure we all had to pay the salaries to our employees even though they were not working. Did we have any choice? I was talking to one of my clients and he said, I have money, but my company doesn't have money. Now, that's where we may have to look at our financial planning, budgets, and forecasting. Can we forecast our business future from the planning that we make? That is the biggest question. Can we have the capabilities for planning the future of our business? We can definitely do that, and that's the reason why we all are here in this particular webinar. Also, with the kind of conversion that is happening at the Ministry of Home Affairs and Ministry of Labor's, I'm sure they are going to come up with some new guidelines that will help employers too. Last week or maybe a week ago, they had come up with this guidelines of letting the employees work for 12 hours a day against the regular statutory requirements of not letting them work for more than 8 hours. Right now, that's a huge relief. However, think from the employee side too. Don't rub them against the wrong expectations. Okay. The next thing is needs to be done is define your fear. Has anyone done the fear setting exercise? When you define your fears, which can help you take better decisions and help you set up your goals. Fear setting is an excellent exercise that we usually do with our clients whenever we onboard them, either during the crisis or even those times when there is no crisis. So see if you wish to have this fear setting exercise done for your organization. The next thing that we're talking about is the SWOT. Now, SWOT is an age-old tool that people have been talking about. I've been talking about. Then there is a new tool called SOAR. So S stands for strength, O stands for opportunities, A stands for aspirations, and R stands for results. However, with this crisis in place, I think we need to go back to our basic, which is SWOT, which is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So prepare your SWOT of your current state as on today, okay, which will be your business health check. Your SWOT can be designed based on the team that you have, the cash that you have on your hands, your cost of products and services, your current market. Check whether you are still there in the market or have you been outcompeted. Are you utilizing this time enough for your marketing activities? And above all, check whether what you are selling as the product or a services which is the best possible quality or not. The last one is the BPR, the business process reengineering or people process reengineering. So we will need to update our business and people processes. The policies that we had made or designed to operate our business may not work now, because as I said, this is a new world altogether. We will have to come up with the risk assessment in a very different way. We will have to redefine our employees' KRAs, and we will have to define the pay structure as well that helps us in long run. So your new pay structures can have more of incentive based payout, or more of variable payout, or task related payouts. Working from home is a cost saving for business too, because we all have observed that our infrastructure cost has gone down dramatically, right? So we will, and so it's a win-win situation. However, I understand that as a business owner, it's a big hole in my pocket. However, we will need to train our employees on working from home to have this business sustained. Right. So that's about what is new normal and how will you adapt the new normal. So now let's talk about the marketing side of the business. Marketing side of the business, what changes to bring there is, and how to approach our customers to generate new leads. Now, the marketing mix is a blend of variables that determines the level of marketing efforts on the target market. As we all know, the 4 P's of the marketing mix are people, price, place, and promotion. And the 4 C's, I'll be talking about it soon. But this is the marketing mix as of now, the product, the marketing mix, product, price, place, and promotion. So it is the tool which is being used to influence or persuade the wants, need, and demands of the customer for PSI. When I say PSI, is product, services, or information. In simple terms, the marketing mix is the tool that is used to influence the target market and its demand for product, service, or information. Usually, the marketing mix describes the combination of four inputs which constitute of the core company's marketing system, which is product, price, place, and promotion. However, with the new world that we are looking at, it's going to be four C's that we need to look at, right? So now this new world, when we think about our products, we need to consider what solution we are providing for our customer, what is the value proposition for our product. When it comes to price, we need to think about the price of our PSI. Let's consider at what cost the customer is willing to pay to get their PSI. It's no more than what we want to sell at what cost. Okay, it's what customer need at what price. Um, so as we review the place of PSI, the activities to ensure the PSI is available, the product, services, and information, we can evaluate how convenient it is for a customer to find, buy, and get the products or services in their hands. Can we open any other channel of transportation or commutation? And the last one, which is promotion, as we plan the promotion, promotion are the activities that promotes our products or services or information or goods. So as we plan for the promotion, consider the type of communication our customer prefers and through which channels they will be more receptive. It starts even from the basics of email writing, when we may wish to change the tone of our written language. Let's see how much companies were or are prepared to manage crisis and how to return to the business. All right. So this is the graph I'm going to talk about is the preparedness against the resilience. Resilience is the capacity to recover fast. So basically, how soon we can recover fast. This is the graph, and we have four quadrants. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. If you see the first quadrant, which is unprepared and less resilient. Now we all know the aviation and tourism, mining and metal, manufacturing services. Now this is a badly hit, uh, sectors. So what should be the strategic focus? The focus should be on rapid digital transformation for non-essential roles or activities. Probably explore businesses diversification and value chain realignment. You may want to think about the business model redesign. What should be the people focus here? You may want to consider corporate twinning options to loan, to share your talent, to build the core resilience between organizations. You may want to protect employees' health, benefits, and jobs, and support them to find new jobs. That means we're talking about the digital outplacement. So make reskilling career conversation as a priority. Consider the technical and soft skill that will be required in jobs for the future. Right. One of the surveys says that this is the first in and last to recover industry, and the last can be as late as the last quarter of 2021. That the I'm not talking about the Indian financial quarter. I'm talking about the Jan to December quarter. So the October, November, December of 2021. That's the thing which I'm hearing a lot, and we all are hearing a lot from the various media. The next one is unprepared and highly resilient. Education, oil and gas, consumer staples. Now, if you remember, when this pandemic happened, everything went under lockdown. The schools and colleges were completely shut for a couple of days, but then eventually they could recover fast. They came back. The same happened with the consumer staples, like the malls, the groceries, and things have not stopped. So then how do we plan for that? What should be the strategic, the strategic focus? The focus should be analyze what has enabled similar firms with the sector to thrive and prioritize business transformation, right? We need to work on the short-term solutions to plug supply needs. That means contingency workers, maybe talent sharing, that can be the one. Okay, and we need to again focus on upskilling, consider the technical and soft skill that will be required in this job in the future. The third quadrant talks about the highly prepared and less resilient. That means people who are prepared but cannot recover fast, the professional service providers and the solopreneurs, the single person companies, that's the problem they might be facing at this point in time. And so in that case, how do you work about it? So in that case, if you have a team, if you're a professional service provider, you need to know your people's core skills and aspirations, focus on motivating talent linked to future value creation. Your business strategy can be analyze the your company's core competence, explore how to translate those competencies to the next available market, which is highly prepared and resilient. The fourth quadrants is highly prepared and resilient, where high tech, healthcare, pharma, and insurance companies. Now these four, and some of other related businesses had never faced problem. I mean, there were problem for a couple of maybe a week or two, but then they came back. So this is the industry readiness that we have. Now let's talk about the power of six. Now, what is power of six? Power of six is talking about the during this lockdown, and once it opens, the phase one, probably first 2 months. What are the areas that you should focus on, and what are the tasks that you should be working on today? Okay, so let's talk about it. Okay, the first one, marketing and lead generation. So that's what we were talking about. That marketing and lead generation is something that you should be doing at this point in time. The next one is sales revenue generation. I know it's a very slow market, but we still need to have our efforts there. The next one is operations. How we can add values to our operation. We need to work on creating the strategies, and make sure that people are with you. What is the next focus area? The next focus area is R&D. The research and development does not mean you get into your lab and do some research, but you need to work on the new products and services. Start looking for the what other kind of products that you may have in the future as a part of your portfolio. The next focus area is your accounts, where you need to have your focus on the accuracy, compliance, insight. Like we always say that we do not have time, and someday when I get a time, I'll work on it. So this is the time, guys. You need to work on the fifth element, which is accounts. The last element is the human resources, recruitment, training your people online, employee value proposition. Now these are the six areas where you need to work on during this lockout and the open phase. And some of the tasks that I would like to talk about here. The first task is to create, what we want to create here. We want to create strategies here. We want to have our people ensure that they have their processes in place, the systems are in place. The next one is to learn what this is for yourself and not for your employees. This is for yourself. Learn new skills and learn new knowledge. The next one is network. When I say network, is you need to be a part of you need to be connected with your vendors, your customers, probably your mentors, your guides. The next task for you to analyze. There are various tasks. You may want to analyze your finances. You may want to analyze your team, your data, your trends, your market. So these are some of the things that you should be analyzing. The next thing is to get your people trained. You need to train your people to be ready for the next new normal that we all are talking about. And the last one is innovation. We may want to innovate. We need to go back and see what best can be done with the current set of products, and what can be done, what to innovate in the offerings that we have. And we may want to innovate our business model. So these are some of the focus areas and tasks. All right, so now let's talk about some of the strategies that many companies are hiding from you. Now that's the core thing that we've been talking about, and these are so there are many strategies out there in the market. However, we will talk about three of them. Let's begin with the first one, which is a balanced scorecard. Now, when I say balanced scorecard is a viable option and solid strategic layout that help you to go above and beyond your limits. It is this strategic planning and management system to help the business owners to capture a broad and balanced view of the company's performance. There are four perspectives of the balanced scorecard. The first one is a financial perspective. So when I say about financial perspective, it's about the results and growth, your ROE, your ROCE, your profit margin, cash flow, debts, loans, etc. The next one is the customer perspective. Customer satisfaction, loyalty, retention, high quality sales revenues, etc. The next perspective is business processes. Your operational efficiency, you're minimizing, problems. How will you mitigate your problems? You may want to adapt the lean manufacturing. And the last perspective is learning and growth. So learning and growth, we are talking about the skills and knowledge, alignment of personal goals and company goals. So it is the way of looking at your organization that is focused on big picture and strategic goal. It also helps you choose the right thing to measure so that you can reach those goals. It combines the strategy and management to give a comprehensive look at short as well as long-term objectives and tactics to your business. So now let's see one of the other two examples of the strategic map that we have created for one of the e-commerce and one of the jewelry store. All right, let's see this example. Okay, so this is the strategic map created from the balance scorecard tool with the on the first column on the left, which says financial perspective, customer perspective, internal process, and the learning and growth perspective. So what are the objective goals, indicators, and initiatives? If you see, the objective of the financial perspective is to increase sales and reduce cost. So in that case, the goal was set to 15% increase in the net sales and 10% decrease in the operating cost. And what are the indicators, the financial statements? And what initiatives should be taken? That should be one of the initiative was negotiate with the suppliers. In the second perspective, which is a customer perspective, the objective was set to be a reference for a variety of products. The goal was to increase in launching new products every quarter by 15%, right? And generate the revenue. If you're aware, the company 3M, their goal is to generate 70% of their revenue from the new products that they have introduced. Now that's the strategy they have. So if you fill in the financial and customer perspective, so that's the that's the goal they have set. For the customer perspective, the indicators will be number of new products launched per quarter. And for the same thing, what initiatives you have to take, you need to create an innovation and development committee, who actively work toward increasing the customer satisfaction and getting the new products launched. The next perspective is the internal process perspective. Here, the objective is to be able to develop new products consistently or constantly. So what should be the goal? The goal is to start at least 5 new products development projects every month. Now, when I say you need to start 5 development projects, does not mean that you actually build it. When you say initiative, that means you start talking about it. You may want to have a think tank initiatives here. And what are the indicators? The project innovation reports, and the initiatives can be acquire specific software for managing product development. For the learning and growth perspectives, the objective is to have extremely knowledgeable staff in product development team. Since it's an e-commerce company, the goal was set to have at least 2 professionals with master's degrees in product development. We may have want to have a scrum masters or certified scrum master. We may want to have certified developers. These indicators will be number of product development professionals with the master degrees, and the initiatives those was taken was select an employee to receive master training and hire another with the master degree. So basically, it's more of the knowledge transfer that we are talking about. So that is the strategic map that was created based on the balanced scorecard for one of the e-commerce company that I work with. The next example is for one of the jewelry store. You know, so balance scorecard. How scorecard can be used to create the strategic map of jewelry store? Again, the same four perspective: financial, customer, internal process, and learning and growth. So if you see, let's talk about the customer perspective. So the objective was to have a more attractive store for customers. That means the goal was to increase the average number of daily visits of customers by 20%. And how do you count it? How do you measure? So measure was the number of customer that comes to the store. And to do that, what initiatives are required? You need to improve. The store was guided to improve the window jewelry display and invest in social media. Many businesses think that, since the kind of business they are, probably they're into packaging, or the way jewelry store, they think that social media is not for them. But this was one of the initiative taken, and the results were fruitful. The same way, the financial perspective, the objective was to increase the profitability. The goal was to increase the profitability by company by 15% in less than 6 months. The statements were the indicators. And so what were the initiatives taken? We had to negotiate installment partnership with the credit card companies. So these are, just two examples of the strategic maps that we had created for, one of the e-commerce company and the jewelry store. All right. So this is the balance scorecard, which is a dynamic and updated strategic management framework, which provides a strategic and actionable outline of goals and help to build, maintain, and increase the performance of your people and your organization. So that was the first strategy. Let's talk about the next strategy, which is a blue ocean strategy. Now, if you see this picture, it has more of red and less of blue color. So let me give you a brief about it. In year 2005, this term red and blue ocean were coined to denote the market universe. So red ocean are all the industry in existence today. So the kind of industry that you are doing business, the same sphere of people that you do business. So basically, that's a known market space where industry boundaries are defined and companies tries to outperform their rivals to grab greater share of the existing market. Cutthroat competition turned ocean dirty red, and hence the term red ocean was given. Blue ocean denotes to the industry not an existing field. That means something that you never experienced. So that is the blue ocean. Blue ocean, and that's why it's called blue ocean. Basically, it's an unknown market space, unexplored and unattained by competition. Like the blue ocean, it is very vast, deep, and powerful in terms of opportunity and profitable growth. So let me show you how it would look. Okay, so let's talk about the red ocean strategy. Red ocean strategy is the ocean that we are in, where it's a cutthroat competition. It's the known market space. The boundaries are defined for the companies. You have your rivals in the market, right? So in red ocean, what we do, we compete in the existing market space. Try to beat the competition. We try either to differentiate or provide the low cost. We try to get the competitive advantage. Can everyone mute themselves? Vipin, you have a question. Vipin Kumar, you have a question? You can unmute yourself, Vipin.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. I have no question.
No question, okay. Because you had raised your hand, so I thought you have a question.
Well, it's in the starting of the webinar.
Oh. All right. So let me go further. Just a minute. I think there is some problem with this. Can you all mute yourself so there is no lot of noise around? All right. So that's a red ocean strategy where the competitive advantage is something which we work on. We segmentize the existing customer and exploit the existing demand that we have. Now let's see what is the red ocean versus blue ocean. When we talk about blue ocean strategy, is more of creating uncontested market space. Let me just mute. Okay. So when we talk about the blue ocean strategy, it's about creating uncontested market space. Now, if you see some of the logos that I put in on the right side of the screen, it talks about the same thing. The Geo. Let's talk about Reliance Geo. Now, Geo created an uncontested market space when it entered. 60% market cap was taken by Geo. The same way with Netflix. This Netflix made the competition irrelevant. The Starbucks coffee or Oyo room, that's what they have. What they have done is to have that blue ocean strategy implemented, where they made the competition irrelevant. Um, they were more of providing differentiation and low cost rather than differentiation or low cost. Against the competitive advantage, what they did is they tried to add the value innovation. They attracted those people who were there never their customers, and then they created new demand rather than exploiting the existing demand. So blue ocean strategy is more of creating a new market space for yourself, the market space which was never there. So that's the blue ocean strategy. uh, Yes. Okay. So Jayesh Prajapati has sent me a message that I should mute, and I think I have muted every one of you. Okay, so that is the second strategy that we have, which is called blue ocean strategy, which is very known. Even if you Google it out, you'll be able to find this details. There are ways to implement it. It requires management's intervention, 100%, to have this strategy implemented because it's a new market space that we would like to get into. So basically, this picture summarizes the distinct characteristics of competing in the red ocean strategy versus creating a blue ocean strategy or the blue ocean market, where it's a kind of wisdom that you get to perform your business. So first, we talked about the balanced scorecard strategy with the four perspective of financial perspective, customer perspective, internal business perspective, and learning and growth. And the second strategy was the blue ocean strategy, where we talked about the red ocean strategy, that means the existing market space, and then we talked about the new market space, which is a blue ocean strategy. Right now we are going to talk about the third strategy of the day, which is the third strategy. There are many such strategies available, but this is the third and last strategy that we are going to talk about, which is called five forces strategies. Let me to the next one. Okay, so this tool was created by Harvard Business School professor Mr. Michael Porter to analyze an industry's attractiveness and likely to be profitable. Since its publication, it has become one of the most popular and highly regarded business strategy tool, uh, and which can help any business. Now, when I say any, is literally any business to survive if this jotted down correctly, right? So if you see on the screen, there are four inputs. Okay. So basically it says the strategy recognize the organization is likely to keep a close watch on their rivals, but we need to encourage ourselves to look beyond the action of our competitors and examine what other factors could impact the business environment. The strategy has identified five forces, the five forces that I was talking about, that make up the competitive environment and which can erode your profitability. They are, the first one is competitive rivalry, which is in the center. This looks at the number of strength of your competitors. How many rivals do you have? Who are they? And probably how does the quality of their product and services compare with yours? When rivalry is intense, companies can attract customers with aggressive, uh, just a minute. Okay. Uh, so where were we? So, so yeah, we were talking about the intense rivalry where companies can attract the customers with aggressive price cuts and high impact marketing campaigns. The next one is supplier power, the one in the left, which says bargaining power of the supplier. So this particular input is to determine by how easy it is for your suppliers to increase their prices. How many potential suppliers do you have? How unique is the product and service that they provide, and how expensive would it be to switch from one supplier to another? Now, this particular strategy may not be useful for IT and ITES completely. However, for manufacturing and all other industries, this particular strategy can be useful. The next input is buyer's power. The bargaining power of the buyers, where we talk about the number of customers, size of each customer order. Then we talk about the difference between competitors, price sensitivity, buyers' ability to substitute, buyers' information availability, and switching cost. And the last one, which is the threat of the substitute products. The threat of the substitute products, or the substitution. This refers to likelihood of your customers finding a different way of doing what you do. For example, if you supply a unique software products, now again I'm coming back to the IT or ITES industry, right? So the threat of substitution. Let's say if you are providing a unique software product that automates an important business process, people, and just imagine that what if this entire process is being outsourced or is done manually. A substitution is easy and cheap to make and can weaken your position and threat your profitability. And the threat of new entrants. The threat of new entrants, your position can be affected by people's ability to enter your new market. This is basically your new competitors. So think about how easily this could be done. How easy is to get your foothold in the international market. I mean, in IT industry, we have seen a lot of people, employees, after a while they start their own organization with a very small uh, 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 the budget, but then they try to flick the customers. Rahul, I'll be sharing the first slide of the strategy soon. The first strategy, that means the business score, balance scorecard. I'll be doing that. Okay. Okay. So that's the strategy number three. The strategy number three, which is the five forces strategy. Let me show you an example. Just a minute. Just a minute, guys. Just give me 1 minute. I'm just trying to get the screen back because I think it's stuck on your side. All right. So let's see one of the example for the 5 forces strategy. Okay. So let's see this example of Uber. Okay. So Uber has implemented this particular 5 force strategy, with the threat of substitution, bargaining power of riders, bargaining powers of drivers, and threat of new entrants. Now, if you see from the left, which says bargaining power of drivers, or rather, let's see from the threat of substitution, it says, what is the threat of bike sharing or better public transport? This is for India, or self-driving cars. Okay, self-driving cars, that was one of the threat for the Uber. Okay, and so that's why if you see that the what is the substitute, it says it's a low threat, because two different value propositions that we have there. There's the um, the kind of people we have, the segmentation of the customer is very wide. We have people who is below poverty line, then we have, the medium sector and the high, and then the premium sector. So for them, threat of substitution was very low. Okay. The existing rivals were Ola, the direct rival in non-US, very low or rising. Direct competition from niche, again low or rising. Locally focused, medium and rising. So when they started, if you remember, they started with a bang in India. They started in the same country with 4 different cities on the same day. So they did have a high and rising rivalry among the competitors. Okay, but however, if you see this chart, this is the strategy they did develop. Okay, so what they did, they did check the bargaining power of the riders. Okay, the people who will commute using Uber. So they said the bargaining power of customers were high, because people were not used to go in taxis because of the high price. They used to prefer the autos. Okay. The next one was switching barriers for the demand side, which was low. The value proposition of the customers, which was very high. The buyer's information's availability, the information to reach out the people, which that was very high. It was very easy to get information. So basically, bargaining power of riders were very high. If you see the left side, which says the drivers, the bargaining power of drivers. So it says bargaining power of drivers were very low, because there were hardly any these kind of services available in India back then. Uh, Switching cost to the drivers, again, it was low. Value proposition that was created for drivers, which was medium. Now, if you remember, the drivers were promised they are still promised to get a fixed minimum income, every month, and over and above whatever they earn. Okay, and what were the barriers to enter or to be a driver? It is very low. Anyone can be a driver. If they have a car, they can rent a car. So bargaining power of drivers low, but it was likely to be rising, because now the market was coming up. The market was gearing up. If you see the threats for the new entrant, as Uber as a new entrant, the barriers for the entry, again, it's high for the another US based globally operating, but low for India. It was easy for Uber to get into India. Um, Barriers to exit, again low, just shut down the business, because not many people were involved in this. The economy of scale was medium. Industry profitability was low, or I would say rising. and the incumbent powers was medium. Now, so if you see, the threat of new or new entrants were medium to high. But when I say high, the high was not in the country like India or any such country of Southeast Asia. Okay, so this is the the strategy that Uber has used, Swiggy has used, Zomato has used, which are the five forces strategy, where they try to evaluate each side of the business, the rivalry, the substitutes, the bargaining power of your suppliers, the bargaining power of your buyers, and the threat of substitution. People may just put you out of the business, and that's why if you see, these companies keep on coming up with new the new features in their apps, the new operation strategies, the new way of attracting the customers. So this is the third strategy. Let me just quickly take you back to the first strategy. Someone was asking me. All right, so this is the balanced scorecard. This is the first strategy where we talked about financial, customer, business processes, learning, and growth. The next strategy was the blue ocean versus red ocean strategy. The red ocean is the current market, and the blue ocean was the is the new market, which is non-competed or it's not seen. And this is where the competition was to and this the idea is to make the competition irrelevant. Some of the examples that we saw is Geo, Netflix, Starbucks, Koyo. Now these are some of the companies who has used blue ocean strategy to outcompete the market and create a new market space. You all would agree that Geo has changed the way telecom operators operate in India today. Probably India has the lowest telecom rates and the internet rates across the globe. The third strategy that we talked about is the five forces strategy, where we talked about the substitution, the threat of substitution, or the new product, the bargaining power of suppliers or buyers, and the threat of new entrants, and along with that, rivalry among the existing competitors. So these are the three major strategies that many companies are using to be there today in the market today, and to ensure that their business survive, because this year is more of a year of survival. It's not the time of expansion, it's the time of business diversification. All right, so I think that's all I had to say. Just need to have whether do we have any questions. I'm just unmuting all. You may want to raise your hand, and I'll ask you a question. I've unmuted all of you. If you have any question, I'll be more than happy to answer. You may want to write down in chat. Okay, so people are pinging me in the private chat. Okay, so someone is asking that how easy to implement any of this strategy. Okay, so when I talk about the easiness, it's all about the preparedness of the management, whether because it's more of the top to bottom approach. It's not the bottom to top approach that's gonna work. So you need to be ready as a business owner. You need to be ready to implement this strategy. I hope I have answered your question. Thank you. All right, next question. Okay, the next question is, what about new business in this market? And then how do we negotiate payment terms with the customers in coming days? Okay, SME and corporate structures. Okay, the chat box is crazy. There are so many questions. Just a minute. Let me just take one and answer them. Okay. Rahul is asking, what is the strategy for auto dealership? What would be the blue ocean strategy? Okay, so the blue ocean strategy can be anything. It does not mean that you close down your current business. It's about if you are into the two-wheeler auto dealership, you may want to think about something else, because you already have the infrastructure ready. And we can definitely talk about in details. Chintan is asking how to successfully implement variable pay where people are accustomed to fixed take-home salary. Okay, so in this new world, Chintan, people are ready for the new challenges. Uh, it's very easy. Now let me give an example. If you are giving a salary of, let's say, 10,000 rupees to someone, okay, in this new world, first of all, as I said, it's a world of, it's a year of survival. You may want to introduce more of task-based remuneration. So you may want to have, let's say, 70% of fixed remuneration, 30% can be the task-based, which can be measured against the time and the quality of the task that is performed, right? That is going to be the future. There are at least 3 companies who are big MNCs whom I'm aware of that they have introduced this. I hope I have answered your question. Okay. How do we negotiate payment terms with the customers? Thank you, Chintan. How do we negotiate payment terms with the customers in coming days? Okay, payment terms with your existing customer or the potential customer. Hetal Nayak has asked the question. Hetal, can you just let me know whether you're talking about the current
Yeah,
customer?
Mirin bhai, it is with respect to newer targets, customers, mane newer customers.
It's the same customer with the new targets.
No, new customers, same customers. We are habituated with each other, but
Right.
I'm talking about the newer targets, newer customers, whom you have not transacted in past.
So basically, your potential customer that you're talking about.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. With the potential customer, so what happens, Hetal, that we need to see what are your current way of payment terms with them. So if the payment terms talk about 90 days, you may want to, because it depends on the kind of, the customers that you have. So you have mentioned the SMEs or corporate, etc. Okay, so if you have the SME as your customer, even they would expect you to increase the payment terms. It all depends on how you negotiate with them. Because unless you have here I would say the balance scorecard strategy would help you. Because here it's more of the customer driven market that we're talking about. All right, we can connect
Right.
offline to discuss this further. I can help you with this.
Sure. How do we connect? Can you just help us right now? How do I connect you?
So,
LinkedIn
yeah, LinkedIn, you can just look for Milind B. Desai. You can just add me there. I can help you with that.
or maybe an email ID or maybe whatever.
The email that you might have received, from last 2-3 days.
Huh.
Solution.
Actually, we received a WhatsApp, so we may not have.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
well, registration.
yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
I'll just write it down in the chat. Just.
Nilesh Kim sir, I can give you his contact details.
Oh, Nilesh bhai, केम छो? Oh,
Yes,
great.
Bhaiya.
So it's
Lovely,
here.
lovely.
It is solutions@confabpro.com. And yes, obviously Nilesh bhai can give you my coordinates directly. And I'll give you.
No worries, no worries. I know him very well.
Okay.
He's our valuable customer.
Okay. All right. So there are a lot of questions that are still popping up. What about the new businesses in this market? Good question. A lot of people have been asking me that what are the new businesses that we should get into, right? For next 1 year or rather 2 years, the pharma business or the healthcare business or the education portal business or anything which has to do online transaction, your e-commerce business, these are the markets. Your special chemical business, um, these are some of the businesses which you can look for. We can connect, because it again depends on the kind of readiness that you have to switch to the new business, right? Because as I said, this year is of more of business diversification than the business expansion, right? Everyone is talking about the healthcare business. Everyone is talking about uh, um, the pharma business. So it's a crowded space. So again, it depends on us how and what kind of selling strategies that we wish to have there. Okay, before I answer my next question, The next webinar that I'm conducting next Saturday at 4 p.m. is on the leadership crisis, leadership during the crisis time of COVID-19. So this is my next webinar that is happening next week. And someone was asking me the details. These are my coordinates. You can have my website and my email address and my phone number. Right. Any more questions that I can answer? Okay, one more question, which is what are the legal options to prevent confidential information leakages? Okay, now, so this is one of the challenges that, most of the organizations are facing, Chintan. Your current, type of the agreements that we have done with your employees needs to be re-looked at. We need to have more of trust given to the employee. I understand the kind of business that you are in, trust will not work. But as I said, the information leakage for people who are working from home, there are many softwares that can be helpful to see. But in this era, taking a picture of your screen and send to someone, there is absolutely no restriction on that. Right. Any more questions, guys? So you have my coordinates on the screen, my mobile number, my email address, my websites. I'm open to any question that you may have, or we can pause these sessions for today.
This was excellent, Milind bhai. It was really excellent.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hetal. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for your time today. I hope this particular session was useful to you, and looking forward to see you all next Saturday, 4 p.m. or for my new webinar on leadership during the crisis. Thank you very much for your time.